Tonight, a special edition of Top Story, the exclusive Oval Office interview with President Trump. Reporting from Washington, here's Tom Llamas.
And good evening from our nation's capital, where today we sat down exclusively with President Trump at this extremely pivotal moment in his second term. The president making a number of headlines, discussing everything from the midterm elections to the economy to his administration's handling of the immigration crackdown. Telling me what he learned from Minneapolis and about where ICE officers could head next. And with the affordability crisis impacting so many Americans right now, you'll hear what he said about when to expect economic relief. I also asked him point blank about this moment with Fed Chair Jerome Powell and if his Justice Department would drop the investigation into Powell. And as the Republican Party faces growing pressure ahead of the midterms, what he said about the possibility of 2028 and the presidential ticket possibly featuring on the Republican side Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Plus, we pressed him on what those FBI agents were looking for when they raided an election office in Georgia. And his warning tonight to Iran's supreme leader after that country's deadly protest crackdown. Also, the surprising response when asked about his relationship with former President Bill Clinton. During our talk, the president pointing out ongoing construction on the White House ballroom, what he said about bulletproof windows and drone-proof ceilings being installed, and if he ever worries about his own safety, plus what he told me about his personal health. But we start with the major breaking news out of Minneapolis tonight. Tom Homan announcing he's pulling hundreds of federal officers out of Minnesota, and that's where our conversation begins. Okay, let's drill down into the news today. That big change on immigration, 700 officers leaving Minneapolis. Did that come from you?
Yes, it did. But it didn't come from me because I just wanted to do it. We are waiting for them to release prisoners, give us the murderers that they're holding, and all of the bad people, drug dealers, all of the bad people. We allowed in our country, I say 25 million people with an open border policy for 4 years under Biden and that group, the auto pen group, I call them. We allowed to come into our country people the likes of which no country would accept, and we're getting them out. Yeah. But we've gotten a lot of them out. So crime now in Minnesota, crime now in Minneapolis is down. Crime in all cities is down. And you know why it's down? It's down because of us. It's down in Chicago by 25%, despite the fact that we are always dealing with these people, and they happen to be Democrats that don't know anything about crime prevention.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis, what did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals. But look, I've called the people. I've called the governor. I've called the mayor, spoke to them, had great conversations with them. And then I see them ranting and raving out there, literally as though a call wasn't made. We've done a great job everywhere. The only place there's been a little inflammation has been really, it's not Minnesota, because we've done well with crime.
Los Angeles, too. There's been others. Yeah.
Well, I saved Los Angeles. The top law enforcement officer, right at the beginning of my time when they were having riots, before me and it carried into me. If I didn't go in there with the National Guard, with troops, you wouldn't have the Olympics, which I got. I got the Olympics. You wouldn't have the Olympics in Los Angeles. And he said, without the president sending in the troops, we would have lost Los Angeles. Yeah. And you know what? I saved Los Angeles. And we will do it again if we have to. And by the way, we're going to have a very safe Olympics, and we're going to have a very safe World Cup.
Speaking of Minneapolis, after the shooting of Renee Good, you said ICE made some mistakes. What were the mistakes?
Well, look, I'm not happy with the two incidents. It's not, it's both of them, not one or the other. He was not an angel, and she was not an angel. You look at some tapes from back, but still, I'm not happy with what happened there. Nobody could be happy, and ICE wasn't happy either. But I'm going to always be with our great people of law enforcement, ICE, police. We have to back them. If we don't back them, we don't have a country. If we don't back them, you're going to end up, look, Washington, D.C. was a very unsafe place to be. You couldn't walk to the White House. You couldn't walk to a restaurant. Restaurants were closing. I inherited not only a mess with the country, I inherited a horrible, very dangerous capital. Do you know Washington, D.C. is now an extremely safe place? You see what happened. You're here a lot.
When you mentioned Renee Good,
let me ask you, Tom. You're here a lot.
Yeah.
Would you have walked down the street a year and a half ago with your family? No. but today you can, and nothing's going to happen.
You mentioned Renee Good and Alex Peretti not being angels. Do you think any of that justified what happened to them, though?
No, I don't. It should have not happened. It was a very sad, to me, it was a very sad incident, two incidents. And, you know, they mentioned the one now, they don't mention the other. Well, I think they were both sad. And, you know who feels worse about it than anybody? The people of ICE. They're strong, tough people. And they have to be tough because we're dealing with hardened criminals.
Right.
We're dealing with people, you know. Jails have been emptied into our country from all over the world, from Venezuela, where we had great success, you will admit, but from Venezuela, from the Congo in Africa, from all over the world. Jails, the jail population was emptied into our country. If we don't have strong people, you're not getting them out, and we're getting them out. Remember this, again, I say it again and again, we have record low crime in the United States. Nobody's been able to say that for 125 years.
So I want to be clear, because it sounds like there is a shift in immigration enforcement here, that there's going to be a shift after Minneapolis. What should Americans expect going forward?
Well, one thing I say to my people, you know, we do a good job, we don't get credit for it. I say they have to ask and they have to say please. When a city is going,
who has to ask and who has to say please?
The mayor or the governor. I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if their numbers are terrible. Like, for instance, I got a call from Jeff Landry, governor of Louisiana. He said, we have a big problem. Could you go in and help us with well, let's see, certain sections. I mean, to be honest with you, certain sections of the state, beyond their famous, beautiful city, certain sections of the state. We have done, not only in New Orleans, we've done a really great job in Louisiana, but I was called. I want to be called. Chicago, we could solve the Chicago crime.
Well, on that question, which cities are you headed to next?
We have 5 cities that we're looking at very strongly, but we want to be invited. We will sometimes call the governors. And
are these cities like Chicago, Philadelphia? Are these the cities?
We could straighten out the crime in Chicago. We've already brought it down 25% just by being there. We could have Chicago be a safe city, just like D.C. is a safe city, just like all of these places that we've gone to. And I look forward. You know, I didn't campaign on that. I campaigned on law and order, but I didn't think I'd be going into individual cities and making them safe.
Anything else you can tell us about the 5 cities? The 5 cities, anything else? So Americans are ready?
We'll be announcing them very quickly, but we could do something. As an example, I was called by people. San Francisco said, please, we have a Democrat mayor. He's trying very hard. Would you, friends of mine that live there, it's got crime problems. Would you let him do the job and not come in? Let's see how it works. I said, look, I can do it much quicker, much faster. Don't forget, we remove criminals. We took over 2,000 hardcore criminals out of Washington, D.C. If we didn't do that, 2% of the people create 90% of the crime. Think of that, 2%. So you have a criminal, because it's over and over again, 2% create 90% of the crime. We took out 2,000 people, more than 2,000 people out of Washington, D.C., and we now have a safe city.
As I mentioned, you've had success on immigration. Illegal border crossings are at historic lows, right?
You know, it's so nice that you said that.
But if you look at
Tom, what you just said.
It's true.
No, but it's so nice. I hope you air it. It's so nice what you said, because that's called good reporting. That's called fair reporting. Now give me the second part.
Now let me give you the second part of the question. But if you look at the polls, most Americans say they don't like how you've handled immigration, right? Especially what's happened in Minneapolis. How do you change their minds?
Well, I don't believe the polls, for one thing, because how can you not I saw a poll on the border where I'm at 55%, okay?
The polls show that Americans aren't against the deportations. It's the handling of immigration.
You know, polls, it depends on the way you ask the question. I saw a poll on the border. I'm at 55%. Well, how can I only be at 55% when everybody agrees that the border is totally, beautifully closed and nobody's coming in unless they come in legally, et cetera. It couldn't be better. I should be at 100%. I don't believe the polls. And some polls, I mean, I could show you polls where I'm polling at 69% popularity, and some polls where I have one at
we'll ask the White House to share that with us.
71%. And then I have polls where I'm at 44% and 42%. The polls are almost dishonest, almost as dishonest as some of the reporters themselves.
But
I'm getting very good polls. I'm getting very good polls. I'm getting very good polls on crime prevention, on law and order, and on the border. I have to. And I'm starting to get great polls on the economy, which I think is
the polls on the economy they're not great.
They should be great.
They should be. So why aren't they? If you believe that,
I don't know. I mean, look, I've got
Americans tell us. We hear this. I mean, we're going to get into the economy later, but I mean, they tell us they don't feel it.
Just so you understand. Yeah. I have $18 trillion being invested into the country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and the whole country was going to credit.
When does America feel it?
Do you know that if they won that election, and we won in a landslide, do you know if they won that election, this country I think it was finished. I actually think it was finished. You would have had people, instead of 18 coming in, 18 trillion, you would have had $10 trillion leaving. I think our country, I think we would have been Venezuela on steroids.
I have a question about immigration still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals, but I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers that Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured a lot of them. We've brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not sent back again. Despite how strong the borders are, they'll figure a way to try and get in, and we don't want to, and we'll incarcerate them. But 11,888 murders. We are after those people. We're after the drug dealers. We're after by the way, a big problem, they allowed to come into our country people from their mental institutions, people from insane asylums that are mentally ill and very dangerous. We're getting them out.
Joe Rogan was one of your biggest endorsers in 2024. He said he understands the the president's sort of plan to deport people here who are here illegally, but he also understands why critics compare ICE officers to the Gestapo asking people for their papers. What's your response to him?
Well, look, first of all, he's a great guy. We had a tremendous success before the election. I think it was his biggest interview ever, and over 300 million people. It was very good. She didn't want to do it, you know. She decided not to do it because she's not capable. But I spoke to him 3 days ago. We had a great conversation. And all I'm doing, I have to keep.
Did he mention this to you? Did you guys talk about this, the ICE enforcement?
Just had a good conversation. I think he's a great guy, and I think he likes me too. And, you know, liking me isn't important. What happens is that I think we do a phenomenal job, but I don't think we're good at public relations.
What does that mean? You've said that a couple times now. What do you mean by that?
We don't sell the great job that we're doing. Look, we have the safest country.
Is that your staff, or those your staffers?
Excuse me, people from your persuasion, somewhat left, to a job on numbers. It just came out that in 125 years, we have the safest country. The best crime numbers since the year 1900.
That's a stat. We know it's true.
Way before my father was born. Think of that. And yet, then you talk about crime, or you talk about this, or you talk about that, and the poll numbers aren't that good. People, we don't do a good public relations job. That's why I'm doing the interview with you today.
We appreciate it.
I'm trying to help my people. You know, PR, public relations.
Speaking of your people, you're never afraid to shake up your team. You've said that you're okay with shaking up your team. Do you still believe in Kristi Noem to deliver on your vision of immigration?
Look, she was in charge of the border. The border's closed. I mean, everybody gives me A+ on the border. The border was a disaster. People were pouring into our country.
But what about the enforcement?
They don't even try and come up now. You know the beautiful thing? The caravans. I think I came up with that name. Thousands of people, 25, 30,000 people in a group. You know who sent them? Their countries. They sent the people that they didn't want. Not only criminals, people that didn't want to work hard, etc. They know who it is. They sent them into our country. We have nobody coming in anymore. We have very good. You just asked me, Kristi, we have the best crime numbers that we've had in 125 years. I think she's doing a very good job. Again, public relations. She's not getting credit for the job that she does.
Let's move to the economy now.
And excuse me, what is sad, though, and it is, we had the two primary incidents in Minnesota. So,
and you shook up leadership there. You brought Tom Homan in.
Yeah, I did. And Tom is great. Tom is a superstar. But you do thousands of arrests. You arrest thousands of rapists. You arrest thousands of the worst people. You arrest the drug dealers. I mean, we had drug kingpins. We had murderers. Thousands. No incident. We bring them back to their country. 2 people. It's bad. I hate it. I hate even talking about it. 2 people out of tens of thousands, okay? And you get bad publicity. Nobody talks about all of the murderers that were taken out of our country. They don't talk about...
but it was 2 Americans.
They don't talk about we have the smallest trucks. As an example, we've been very tough on the waters, and soon, pretty much overall. But if you look at the waters where we knock out boats, each boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. We're doing a job like nobody's ever seen before. I just got off the phone with President Xi, and he is amazed at how well the United States is doing. He said he's never seen anything like it.
You brought up the conversation, Mr. President, so let me ask you, what did you talk about with the leader of China?
About a lot of topics. We talked
What's the most important topic? Is it chips? Is it the wars in Ukraine? What is going on?
I would say the economy, the relationship that we have with China. I'm going to be going there in April. Then he's coming here toward the end of the year.
Coming to the White House?
He's coming to the White House, toward the end of the year. We have a very good relationship. And, it's important that I have a good relationship, and for him that he has a good relationship with me. We have to have a good... These are the 2 most powerful countries in the world, and we have a very good relationship.
You talk about tariffs?
We spoke for an hour.
Does he ask you about the tariffs? Is he saying this is hurting us?
Well, they're paying a lot of tariffs, as you know. China's paying a lot of tariffs. In the past, they didn't. I'm the one that put tariffs on China. I put tariffs on a lot of... Tariffs are, just so you understand, making our country rich. Our country has taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, really trillions, because the threat of tariffs is getting all of these countries to lose to us. And by the way, they've been doing it to us for 40 years. And now, but I'm doing it very judiciously, very fairly. But tariffs are bringing in tremendous amounts of money. I just gave $12 billion to our farmers because they were mistreated by certain countries. Tariff money. We're taking in hundreds of billions.
No, and I want to ask you about that. I want to get into that. Talking about the economy, you've brought a lot of prices down, as we said. Some are still stubborn.
Very few.
But when you, very few. I get it. Yeah. When you talk to Americans, though, do you have to get them to understand that the prices are not going to come back down to your first term because we had a pandemic and we had record inflation? Are people's expectations too high, or is it just too expensive to live in America?
I just, again, don't think we're selling it properly. We've done a great job.
But it's expensive out there.
You saw gasoline this last week at $1.99 a gallon. It used to be, it was $4.50, $5 a gallon. $1.99 a gallon gasoline. I think we've really bring it. I mean, I don't expect them to be much higher. Now, there's a natural inflation.
But they're never going to go down to that first term.
I inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. It was through the roof. Now, you will say it wasn't in history. It was 48 years. You know, there's a theory that was, I say it was the worst. But whether it's 48 years, I inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now we have almost no inflation. Think of it. You know what it was for the last 3 months? 1.2%. You know what it was under Biden? You can't count that high. I inherited the worst inflation. I inherited the worst crime. I inherited high prices. So when I inherited
inflation is down 2.7 right now, but it is down.
No. For the last 3, don't forget, I've inherited this mess. For the last 3 months, it's at 1.2%. You know that?
But the last,
last 3 months.
You floated the idea of $2,000 rebate checks for Americans from tariff revenue. Who's going to get that, and when is that going to happen?
We'd make it. I'm looking at it very seriously. I'm the only one who can do it because I'm taking in hundreds of billions of dollars of money.
But you can promise some Americans will get those checks?
Oh yeah, sure. I can do that. I haven't made the commitment yet, but I may make the commitment.
So it's not a done deal.
Well, I just gave 1776, right? To the military. Right? $1,776.
But you said all Americans.
You know, it was $1,775. They presented it to me because that's what we have in a budget that I created because I want to take care of our military. Nobody takes care of the military like I do. So $1,775. And I said, wait a minute, if you had $1, it's $1,776. You know that's quite a famous date,
of course.
So anyway, so I gave $1,776 to our military, and they are very thankful.
Let's get to the Fed.
And now I may be doing that with regard to the entire population.
Okay. Let's get to the Fed. Is there any doubt in your mind that interest rates are going to be lowered?
Not much.
Why? How can you say that?
I just think they're going to be lowered. I mean, they should.
Is your new Fed pick on board with that?
We're way high. Okay, we're way high in interest. We have now, with me and with all the money, I've always been good at money. And with all the money coming into our country, we're a rich country again. We have debt, but we also have growth. And the growth will soon make the debt look very small. Because it's the greatest way, you have two ways. You can cut, and we do that anyway, and we did that. You know, we got rid of hundreds of thousands of federal workers. Yeah. And those workers went out and got themselves jobs in the free enterprise system. And you know what? That's called making America great again. We had 10 workers in the federal government for every single job. When the Democrats go in, they hire. I could right now give you the best employment numbers in history. You know what I do? Go out and hire 2 million people, put them in the federal government.
Does your new Fed pick...
I do the opposite.
Yeah. Does your new Fed pick understand that you want him to lower interest rates?
Oh, I think he does, but I think he wants to anyway. I mean, if he came in and said, I want to raise them,
if he said that, he wouldn't have gotten the job.
He would not have gotten the job, no.
Okay.
No. If I thought he was a interest rate... Now, there'll be times if I see inflation on the horizon, but we don't have that. We have low inflation. Remember, 1.2% inflation in the last 3 months. We have low inflation, and we have tremendous growth. You haven't had these numbers like this. We have, think of it, low inflation, great growth. All I have to do is one thing, easy, get down the interest rate.
Do you think the Fed chair answers to you or is an independent body?
Well, I mean, in theory, it's an independent body, but I think, you know, I'm a smart guy. I know the economy better than almost everybody. You know,
so he answers to you.
They did that prediction chart a year ago, and they had 71 great economists and me making the predictions. And, you know, only 2 people were right, me and one other guy who is a very smart professor from a certain school that I went to. Yeah. Very good school. Yeah. And the 2 of us were right. Everybody else was wrong.
There's been bipartisan suggestions that the criminal investigation to the current Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is payback, right? For not lowering interest rates, but also for when he was in that sort of news conference with you with the hard hats and he was shaking his head and showing you the papers and disagreeing with you in public. Is that why he's under criminal investigation?
He was very respectful to me. He wasn't just, he was explaining to me. Yeah. I'm asking him, why are you spending almost $4 billion on a very small little complex of buildings? It's the highest price per square foot. He's renovating buildings for $3 to $4 billion. And, you know, this Fed chair that I have I think is going to be great. He might not have a home because this guy has spent so much money. And I looked, it's a see-through. There's nothing inside. They are spending money. He's in charge of the project. Yeah. This is the Federal Reserve building I'm talking about. It's a very small little, it's actually a couple of little buildings. They're spending more money than any building ever built in history per square foot.
Some Republican senators say they're not going to approve him unless you drop that investigation.
A lot of people say a lot of things.
You don't think that's true? You think,
I don't know.
Is it worth it to drop the investigation to get your Fed chair through?
I think the investigation is the investigation. It's being handled by Pam and Janine and the people. They'll make their own decision on it.
Let's talk about AI. Have you ever used...
But I do say this about... You can't let a man spend billions of dollars doing a bill. I would have done that job for $25 million, and it would have been done much better. Right. They're spending billions of dollars on a renovation of a little complex.
Let's talk about AI. Have you ever used ChatGPT or Claude?
I haven't really, but I know all about it. Let me just talk about AI.
Yeah.
AI is a big deal. AI is going to be maybe the biggest thing, bigger than the internet, bigger than anything else. We are leading China by a lot. We are leading everybody by a lot. They're all building their factories here. And you know what I did for the electric? Because they need twice the electric as we currently produce for the whole country, which is crazy. Nobody can do that. But so what I did is I came up with a concept. Each building that is built is going to generate their own electricity. They're going to build their own electric plant. We are building numbers of AI. And by the way, also auto plants, everything. Right. We're building everything. But do you know, I just left Michigan. I was with Ford. They were going to close this building that was built in the early 1900s, one of the biggest factories. They were going to close it. It was scheduled to close prior to my election. Right. After I won the election, they said, let's try keeping it open. They just went to 3 shifts. It's 24 hours a day. And the head of Ford, Mr. Ford, said it's the most incredible auto comeback I've ever seen.
Mr. President, let me ask you, there's no doubt you are the president who's ushering in the AI revolution, but this is happening on your watch. If AI affects humanity in a negative way, is that on you? Because some of these CEOs of AI companies say, we need guardrails. This could get out of control. Does that worry you?
Everything's on me as president. Everything's on me. I can say this, it'll be the greatest jobs producer. It'll be the greatest military producer. It'll be the greatest medical producer. There'll be tremendous good. And there'll be probably some bad, too.
Well, it's killing a lot of jobs. And what do you say to Americans who are going to lose their jobs to AI?
It's going to create a lot of jobs.
But right now, it's taking jobs in a lot of ways. It's taking jobs from companies like Amazon. What would you say to those Americans?
But it hasn't really started. These major plants haven't even been built. What you're going to
but Mr. President, AI has already started to take jobs because the technology's there.
So we have, it's just announced, more jobs right now occupied in the United States of America than at any time during its existence, 250 years. There are more people working today than at any time in the history of our country. Pretty good stat. That kills that question.
Yeah, we have to look it up.
That's a good answer. That kills that question.
Mr. President, there's widespread concern that AI is going to wipe out a lot of jobs, manufacturing jobs.
They said the internet was going to do, everything was going to do, robots are going to kill jobs, everything's going to kill jobs, and you end up, if you're smart, doing great.
Okay, you are close with the Ellisons, who are trying to stop a merger between Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Netflix. This deal could change the makeup of the media as we know it. Are you personally going to get involved in that deal?
I haven't been involved. I must say, I guess I'm considered to be a very strong president. I've been called by both sides. It's the two sides. But I've decided I shouldn't be involved. The Justice Department will handle it.
Okay. In what way? Just looking at it to see if it's
regular? They're going to make a decision. I mean, there's a theory that one of the companies is too big and it shouldn't be allowed to do it, and the other company is saying something else about, they're knocking.
But you're not going to interfere, even though you're close with the Ellisons.
They're beating the hell out of each other, and there'll be a winner.
Okay, let's talk about the midterms. You've recently suggested nationalizing elections. What do you mean by that?
And I didn't say national. I said there are some areas in our country that are extremely corrupt. They have very corrupt elections. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Philadelphia. Take a look at Atlanta. There are some areas that are unbelievably corrupt. I could give you plenty more, too. I say that we cannot have corrupt elections. If we have to, if they don't straighten it out. As an example, voter ID. Why don't the Democrats want voter ID? You know who does want voter ID? Democrat voters want it, but Democrat politicians don't. Why don't they want it? Because they want to cheat on elections. Can you imagine if I were a politician and they asked me, do you want voter identification? And I said, no, there's no way you could win that debate. But even the Democrats don't want voter ID. If they don't want voter ID, that means they want to cheat. We can't allow cheating in elections. Now, if we need to put in federal controls as opposed to state controls, remember this, they're really an agent. They're really accumulating the votes for who wins an election. If they can't do it honestly and it can't be done properly and timely, then something else has to happen.
Will you trust the results of the midterms if Republicans lose control of Congress?
I will, if the elections are honest. Look, I want the last one that wants to complain. I just had a great election. They say one of the greatest elections, you will agree, ever. Won all 7 swing states. Won 84% of the counties in America. That's why the map is all red. We just had a great election. I believe there was cheating. I think there was cheating.
Well, speaking of counties, what are you doing in Fulton County?
It was too big to rig.
Speaking of counties, what is happening in Fulton County?
I'm not doing anything, but the FBI went in because it's been under I guess, review for years. The cheating that took place in Fulton County and in that particular
nobody knows what's in the warrant. What are they looking for?
Out. Look, why would anybody be upset that they went in and they got the ballots, I guess, right? Yeah. Again, they did this. That's been under review and under investigation for 4 years. And now they got a court order. You know, they got a court order signed by
nobody knows what the evidence is.
A respected but liberal judge signed a court order allowing them to go and pick them up. Well, you're going to know what the ballots say because they're right now inspecting the ballot. I'm not involved in it, but they are inspecting and checking the ballot.
Why is Tulsi Gabbard there?
I don't know, but, you know, a lot of the cheating comes from It's international cheating. You have people, they say, from China trying to.
You put this on
let me ask
Truth
you,
Social.
do you think China tries to influence our election?
We know that foreign governments try to influence a lot of things in this country.
Therefore,
but
she's foreign governments.
But she's tweeted out some theories about Italians and satellites. I mean, do you believe that stuff?
No, I didn't cheat. I sometimes will read truth.
Yeah.
I'll read truth.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. If China or any of these countries are involved in our elections, that would bring her into it. And everybody knows that Russia, they talked about Russia, it turned out to be a hoax. It was Hunter Biden. It wasn't Russia. Look, we have to have honest elections.
Yeah.
There should be nothing wrong with the fact that they went in, got ballots from a while ago, and they're going to look at them. And now they're going to find out the true winner of that state.
Yeah.
And you know what? If there was cheating, which there was, but if there was cheating, it should be found because we can't let it happen again.
Mr. President, I have a few more important questions for you, if that's okay with you. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, they've all been important.
Let's go to, there's a new lawsuit by you and your family that you're suing the IRS for $10.5 billion for leaking your tax documents. Yeah. Is this a good use of taxpayer money?
You can't leak documents. And any money that I win, I'll give it to charity, 100% to charity. Charities that will be approved by government or whatever. I have another lawsuit with the United States. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago.
But that's taxpayer money. It's going to get taken out of the system. I know it's going to charity, you're going to say.
And I've won that case. I mean, they broke in, the FBI illegally, Biden and his group. It wasn't Biden. He didn't know what he was doing. It was a group of very smart radical left people. They're very smart. They've lost their way.
Right.
And they broke into Mar-a-Lago. They broke into my home. They went through
they had warrants.
My wife's drawers. Yeah. They went through, that's a double meaning. They went through Barron's, my son's, everything. They went through the whole house. Hundreds of people. They went in with guns. They went in, guns
How
would have been ablazing.
So how would this work?
Wait. I brought a lawsuit. Essentially, the lawsuit's been won. I guess I won a lot of money.
How would this work, though? Scott Bessent's the head of the IRS. Pam Bondi's the head of the Justice Department. They're going to defend the IRS against you. You're their boss.
Well, there's never been anything like it, in all fairness.
So are you going to tell them to pay you?
Don't forget, I sued as a private citizen because I sued between terms. I won 3 times. I won 3 times, but I didn't assume, unfortunately for this country, I didn't assume office the second time. But here's the story. I sued because they broke into Mar-a-Lago. That was before I became president. Now it goes along, and it turned out that the suit is a very strong suit.
You're going to tell them to pay you, though? Because you're the boss.
Well, what I would do, tell them to pay me, but I'll give 100% of the money to charity. I don't want any of the money.
You take it out of the system. A couple more questions here.
No, I'm putting it back into the system.
Yeah.
If I give money to American Cancer Society, I will give 100% of the money away to charity. I don't want any of it.
$30 trillion debt, and we're going to take $10 billion out of the system?
Well, I mean, you give it away anyway. They give away a lot of money.
Your endorsement
I'll tell you what, speaking about that, Minnesota and these other states, we have massive investigations going into fraud. Yeah. Do you know if we captured 50% of the fraud of this country right now, we would have better than a balanced budget. And you got to mention that. Minnesota, $19 billion in fraud that we know about.
Your endorsement is the most important thing in the Republican primary.
No, in any primary.
Will you endorse in the 2028 presidential primary?
I hadn't even thought of it, but probably, yeah. I mean, I'd be inclined to. I have great people. We have a great bench. We have a lot of people. But, yeah, I think so.
You've suggested that J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio would be a tough ticket to beat. Who should be at the top of that ticket?
Well, I don't want to get into this. We have 3 years to go. I don't want to, I have 2 people that are doing a great job. I don't want to have an argument with, I don't want to use the word fight. It wouldn't be a fight. But, look, J.D. is fantastic, and Marco is fantastic.
How are they
both
different?
doing a great job. And I do think this. It's a great question. I think that's your most interesting question. Yeah. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other. I think they're both of very high intelligence. I mean, they will do shows. They will do Joe Rogan as opposed to the opponent not doing it because they couldn't handle it. They will be able to do whatever they have to do. I think there's a difference in style. You can see the style yourself, but they're both very capable. I do think the combination of J.D. and Marco would be very hard to be beaten, I think. But you never know in politics, right? They say, in the age of Trump, you never know.
Yeah. On January 21st, 2029, do you see any scenario where you are still president?
I don't know. It would be interesting. But wouldn't it be terrible if I agreed with, if I gave you the answer that you're looking for? It would make life so much less exciting, right? It would be so much less exciting. But I only do this for one reason: make America great again. And that's what we're doing. We're making America great again, greater than ever before. Our country is greater than ever before. We're a rich nation. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs from nations that took advantage of us. They thought we were stupid. They thought we were fools. They laughed at us. People were laughing at us 1.5 years ago. They laughed at this country. They're not laughing anymore. They respect us. And I get along with them. They respect us.
Mr. President, I have pages and pages of questions, but they're telling me my time is up. I thank you for your time.
We'll do it again. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you.
That concludes the sit-down portion of our extended interview with the president. Right after this break, we'll show you our walk and talk in the Oval Office, where we discussed Iran, the Clintons, and the president's own health. Stay with us. We're back now with a special edition of Top Story following our exclusive sit-down interview with President Trump. We immediately continued the conversation where he showed me some of the Oval Office, but we also discussed important topics like Iran, Cuba, and his own health. Here's that conversation in its entirety.
This room had almost no pictures up.
Yeah.
And these pictures all came from the vaults.
Yeah.
And they're magnificent. I mean, I think they're magnificent and all, first run, top of the line stuff, but mostly of presidents. We have a couple with Ben Franklin, but I think he qualifies, right? Ben Franklin's pretty good.
Is there any one you ever kind of hone in on where you're thinking deeply about anything, about an issue? Is there one you look at?
Maybe all of them. They're so different. George Washington, and you have Jefferson, and I took Ronald Reagan in, gave me a place of honor also. Did a great job. But Honest Abe Lincoln.
Who do you have up here? I mean, these are big ones here.
That's Ulysses S. Grant, George Washington. Here we have the famous, come on over here. Here we have Declaration of Independence. That's one of the three. This was in the vaults for many years, and I said, it's time to take it out of the vaults.
Do you think at one point people will talk about you when they talk about presidents like Washington and Lincoln? Is that something you think is going to happen?
All I know is this, it's such an honor, but all I know, I'm walking down, and everyone's screaming, goat, goat. I said, what are they talking about? I hope they're right. Not for me, but for the country. Because if I do a great job, that means the country is doing well.
You're building the new ballroom. We hear about this new arch you're building, the Garden of Heroes as well. You're building a lot of things that are going to cement your legacy. Are you also doing this so the country never forgets you?
No, I think we need glamour brought back to our country. We need prestige. We need beauty brought. I mean, in addition to everything else, we need strength. We need all of those things. Like I'm doing an arc, a triumphal, they call it a triumphal arc. 57 cities have arcs. We're the only major important city. Washington, D.C. should have maybe the first arc. We're doing one that will be more magnificent and larger than the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. I would say the Paris arc is probably the most
stunning.
It's incredible. We're going to do one that's going to top it.
Is it true it's going to be 250 feet to mark the anniversary?
It'll be about that, yeah. It'll be a little bit taller than the one in Paris. It'll be a little bit larger than the one in Paris.
You're doing a lot of things for the 250th anniversary. What do you want Americans to feel this July 4th?
Strength, victory, security. You have a secure country. We've done so much militarily. We have a great military. I mean, you saw Venezuela. That was the people, the general that was in charge, he lived. He said he's never seen anything like it. They were all ready.
You talked about the weapon, the discombobulator. What
discombobulator?
Is that?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
But what does it do?
Let me just tell you, you know what it does? None of their equipment works. That's what it does. Everything was...
How does it...
It was my name. I'm very proud of the name. Everything was discombobulated. It was, practically a shot wasn't... they were ready.
Right.
And when we came, they couldn't do anything.
You saw this on the video. You could tell.
Tom, it discombobulated everything.
Nothing worked, even including humans.
Well, let's put it this way.
Out.
We lost no equipment in a very strong, and they're good fighters, great fighters. in a very bad environment. It was a military base, the biggest in South America, because the house was in a base in in a very, very tough environment. We lost no men and we lost no equipment.
The discombobulator just knocked everything.
Well, it did something.
It did something. Did Delcy Rodriguez work with you guys before that raid?
I can't talk about that. I mean, I don't talk about.
Do you trust her?
Well, so far she's done a great job. I mean, so far she and all of the people that are working with her. Remember, in Iraq, they got rid of everybody. They had no generals. They had no people. They had nobody to run the government. Turned out to be a mess, and that's where ISIS came from. You know, that's where ISIS came from. Came from the military and all the people. They formed ISIS. It was handled very badly, but this is handled very well.
Do you think the Cuban government will still be there? The current leadership will still be there by the end of your term?
Well, now you're asking a different question. Cuba's in big trouble. Humanitarian aid is going to have to be sent there. They're in big trouble.
It's a disaster.
They got their money from Venezuela. They got their oil from Venezuela. They turned the oil into money, et cetera, and there's none of that happening anymore. They're in big trouble. Do
you think that government is still there, though? Do you think that government lasts?
I don't want to say that, but we are talking to Cuba.
You're talking to Cuba.
You know what? Look, we have tens of thousands of people that were forced out there here. They voted for me, 94% Cuban population, previous Cuban population. Now they're Cuban Americans. Maybe they go back. Maybe they want to go back. They're going to have that choice. But for years, they've been talking about this happening. Now it's happening. We are talking to Cuba. We want to open it up to those people that want to visit. Even, you know, I think most people, when they hear they want to stay here, I hope that's true. I hope we're not going to lose them. But they're going to have options, and they're going to be able to go back, Tom, and see their loved ones, see their family, their friends.
Should the supreme leader in Iran be worried right now?
I would say he should be very worried, yeah. He should be. As you know, they're negotiating with us.
I know they are, but the protesters have said, you know, where are the Americans? You promised them we would have their back. Do we still have their back?
Well, we've had their back, and look, that country's a mess right now because of us. We went in, we wiped out their nuclear.
So
if I didn't take out, you know, we have peace in the Middle East. Yeah. If I didn't take out their nuclear, think of it. If we didn't take out that nuclear, we wouldn't have peace in the Middle East because the Arab countries could have never done that. They were very, very afraid of Iran. They're not afraid of Iran anymore. We wiped out those beautiful B-2 bombers. One's right over there. Those beautiful little model. Those beautiful B-2 bombers went in and they hit their target, every single bomb, and obliterated it. And because of that, they were going to have a nuclear weapon within 1 month. Yeah. Within 1 month, they were going to have a nuclear weapon. Yeah. That was a big threat. They're not going to have it anymore.
But if we obliterate it, what's the deal about? I mean, if there's no more, are they trying to restart the nuclear program?
Well, I heard that they are, and if they do, and I let them know, if they do, we're going to send them right back and do their job again.
So your understanding is they tried to restart it, and that's why you're threatening force?
They tried to go back to the site. They weren't even able to get near it. There was total obliteration. But they were thinking about starting a new site in a different part of the country. We found out about it. I said, you do that, we're going to do very bad things to you.
Yeah. Mr. President, the ballroom over here, I want you to show it to me, because the thing you said that stood out to me, it's going to be massive. But it's got a drone-proof ceiling and it's got bulletproof windows? What does that mean?
Bulletproof windows because, well, we're in a different time. You know, if somebody's up making a speech, we're going to have the inauguration there. We're going to probably have, I would say, definitely it's going to be large enough. But we have drone-proof ceilings.
What does that mean?
That means if a drone hits the ceiling, it bounces off. It doesn't blow up a building.
It's a fortress,
It's protection.
It's going to be a fortress.
Well, it's going to be very heavy steel.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's heavy steel.
Because of that, do you...
And by the way, the ballroom is so beautiful. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom of its kind, and it's very much in keeping with the White House.
You survived that assassination attempt that we all covered. It was terrible, 2 of them. Do you worry about your safety? I mean, when you think about the ballroom, you do?
I worry about it, but you have to put it out of your mind. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do your job.
You didn't think about it as much before. Now you think about it a lot.
Maybe it could be. I mean, you look statistically, I'm in a very dangerous job.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take a look at the walls, if you take a look, you know, statistically, this is a much more dangerous job than being a race car driver or riding those Broncos. You know, those bulls are tough, right? But I wouldn't want to do that. But statistically, being president is the most dangerous job there is.
We first met 10 years ago when you were running the first time. How do you feel now as you approach 80?
I feel great. I mean, physically and mentally, I feel like I did 50 years ago. It's crazy. Now, there'll be a time when I won't be able to give you that answer, but that time hasn't come, you know? I do. I think it's very important. I've done more physicals. I take physicals just to give the report out.
Yeah.
I take cognitive physicals, so I do a cognitive mind test, okay? And a lot of people wouldn't be able to do very well. Not easy. You know, you get to those last questions. I've aced. I've done 3 of them. No other president has agreed to do them. I do them because I have no problem with it because I'm 100%. Now, there will be a time. Still taking the aspirin?
Still taking the aspirin?
I do. I take aspirin. And I don't want to change, you know? I don't want to.
So you go against your doctor's orders. You do what you kind of feel.
You know, I've been taking aspirin for 30 years, and I don't want to change it. So, you know, they say take the smaller one. I say, well, I want that blood to be nice and thin running through my heart.
If at any point your age impacts your job, who's going to tell you that, or do you think you'll know yourself?
I think I'll know myself, yeah. I think I'll know myself. I wouldn't do an interview with you, as an example.
Yeah.
Did Biden do an interview before Super Bowl? I'm not sure. Maybe he did.
Last one, he didn't.
I mean, he wasn't capable of doing an interview. And that was things. Look, you know, I know people that are 95 years old that are sharp as a tack. Biden was a bad thing for old people. He's the worst thing that ever happened to old people because he obviously didn't have it. And one of the things that's so depressing about the press is the press refused to report the obvious. And he did have very smart people around him, but they had a radical left culture, and they were very bad for this country. This country would not have survived 2 more years if one of them got elected.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to speak about the DOJ. I appreciate all your time and of your staff's time. They've been very, very kind. Yeah. Should anybody else expect the DOJ to kind of come after them like you've come over after some of your political enemies?
You remember this time. Yeah. I was impeached twice, 2 fake impeachments, won both of them easily. Republicans stood by me 100%, but I won both of them. Mm-hmm. I was indicted 87 different times. And then you ask me that question.
Yeah.
So I think I'm extremely moderate, especially for what they did to me. They wanted to take me down. I said to somebody, do me a favor, add up the counts. If I lost, you know, I won. But if I lost these cases, add up the counts and tell me how long would I have to serve in prison. You know what they came up with? 287 years. I said, I better win.
In your mind, that calculation means it's okay for the DOJ to go after your political enemies?
No, it isn't. And I could be involved. You know, I'm the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. I could be involved, but I'm not. I don't choose to. But when they say to me, oh, you're going after people, I got indicted all of those times. It's 287 years in jail they were willing to put. You know, they asked me a question yesterday at the press conference about Clinton because of the testimony. The Epstein thing, which turned out that I have nothing to do, and they did, about Epstein. And they said, do you think it's terrible, what, you know, with the subpoenas and everything, and they're disobeying the subpoenas? And I actually said, it's a shame. You have an ex-president, and you have, you know, the president's wife and Secretary of State. And I said, it's a shame. It is a shame.
NBC News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, you know, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many, many times. Many, many times. They didn't do that to Clinton.
Do you think if the Democrats win in the midterms, at least one house of Congress, they're going to try to impeach you?
Well, you know, I've done a great job as president. They say I've had the best first year of any president in history, and I think I have. If you look, I settled 8 wars, biggest tax cuts ever. Right now, we have more under construction with the factories, the car plant. You know, they're all moving back into the country. They were stolen from us over a 40-year period. They're all coming back from Germany, from Canada, from Mexico, from Japan. I think I had the greatest first year that we've
But
had.
You think they may come after you again?
Well, they'll find something. Like I did an interview with you, and because I did the interview, let's impeach him or something.
Anything out there that Americans are going to be surprised about that you're going?
Yeah, I'll tell you, they shouldn't do it. And that's one of the things. I didn't do it for that reason, but it bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. You know, he was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. It was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump. Run against anyone. Don't run against Trump. And Hillary sort of laughed at him. He said, Hillary, you know it and I know, don't run against Trump.
Yeah.
And they ran against Trump. It didn't work out too well, did it? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank you for your time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good time.
And we'll have even more of the interview coming up on Sunday during the Super Bowl pregame show on NBC. This extended interview and transcript are available at NBCnews.com right now. When we come back, the desperate search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, the new dispatch audio from the day she was reported missing, as investigators reveal new details about what they found outside of her home. Stay with us. And welcome back. When my interview with the president concluded today off camera, he asked to speak with Savannah Guthrie, stepping out of the Oval Office and calling her to talk about the disappearance of her mother, Nancy. He let her know he supports the family and is thinking about them and assured them every resource was available. Savannah said the family is devastated, praying and asking others for prayers. There were new developments today in that search. For the latest on that, we go to Liz Kreutz, who's still in Tucson for us covering this case.
We're now hearing the 911 dispatch audio from the day Nancy Guthrie was reported missing.
A white female, 84 years of age, 5'2" medium build, high blood pressure, pacemaker, and cardiac issues.
On day 4 of the search, senior officials briefed on the investigation tell NBC News that investigators are looking into what appears to be blood found outside Nancy's home. They also say her pacemaker appears to have disconnected from its monitoring app in the early hours of Sunday morning. Today, the Sheriff's Department knocking down a report about a potential suspect, saying the sharing of unverified accusations or false information is irresponsible and does not assist the investigation. No suspect or person of interest has been identified at this time. NBC News is also aware of 2 reports of ransom notes sent to news organizations. NBC News has not seen those notes, and no law enforcement agency has substantiated them. Authorities are still trying to find any evidence, including that potential surveillance video from Nancy's home in the overnight hours. The sheriff told me it's unclear if that footage still exists.
It only goes back so far, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then it starts taping over itself. We don't give up just because, well, it's gone. We get with that camera maker, in this case Google, I think it is, or Nest, or whoever, and we say, can you help us with this?
Google, which owns Nest, telling NBC News the company is assisting with the investigation. In Tucson tonight, Sally Shamrell, a close friend of Savannah's who describes Nancy as a second mom, is helping organize a candlelight prayer service.
What's the message you hope is sent tonight? On a personal level, I hope that Savannah and her siblings see that they are not alone, that we're all there riding this horrible storm with them.
She says the community is paralyzed with grief.
I don't want to wake up because I don't want to know if there's bad news, because I don't think I could handle it. We are hoping our highest hopes, like they are, that they can wrap their arms around Nancy as soon as possible.
Liz Kreutz, NBC News.
We thank you so much for watching this special edition of Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in Washington. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.